Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. Today I have got a what's for dinner video and I've got a bunch of awesome recipes to share. I wanted to also mention that today's video is sponsored by Thrive Market. I've been working with them for a long time, so I'm going to share with you a brief haul, some fun things that I got this month and how I'm going to be using those throughout the dinner video. If you guys want to try out any of these items, I would definitely recommend Thrive Market without reservations. If you use the link in my description box below, which is thrivemarket.com/Jen Chapin, you can get 25% off of your order. Plus, you can also get a free gift, which is an awesome perk. I order from them usually about twice a month. They have a couple different membership options. They have a month-to-month membership, and they also have an annual membership, which comes out to around $5 a month. That's the one that I choose since I order frequently. It is a benefit to me because I can get products on their site that I can't find locally here in my small grocery stores. And the other great thing is that they also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not satisfied for some reason in the first month, you can cancel your membership with no issue. All right, so I'm going to share the haul with you really quick and then we're going to get into the dinner recipes. Any recipes that I reference in this video will also be linked in the description box below. All right, so I kind of got a bigger box this time and I wanted to just briefly kind of give you an overview of what's in it. I did remove all of the packaging. That's another thing that I want to reference is that they do provide really great packaging for all of their products. I've never had anything come broken or smashed. It's always perfect. All right, so here's everything that I got. I did focus on getting several snacks for us and for the kids. They had some new options on the site, so we'll start down here. I did pick up these Mavericks cheese crackers. They are whole grain cheese crackers and I've purchased these before for the kids and they really like them, so I decided to grab them again. These are new to us, but we've tried the plain almond flour ones before, so I thought we would try these. They're the Simple Mills almond flour farmhouse cheddar crackers, and I like that they come in the single serve packs so that you can pack them in lunches and backpacks. This is also another repeat. I probably get these every time. These are the This Saves Lives kids bars. I got the s'mores blast and the Rockin' Strawberry. My kids really like these and they tend to be lower in sugar than a lot of other granola bar options. Another feature that I wanted to mention is the barcode scanner on the Thrive Market app. Their app is super user-friendly, and what I've been doing is actually using it to scan items when I'm in the grocery store, and it will do a price comparison for you on the app. So for example, I actually did it the other day when I was at Hy-Vee. I price checked this avocado mayo, and in the store it was $9.99, and I was able to get it for $6.99 on the Thrive Market app. Same with the Jovial pasta, that was also cheaper on Thrive, and then the Bear chips were also over $1 cheaper on there. So definitely take that into account if you're trying to, you know, get some healthier snacks and foods in your pantry. I did get some of the Bear baked crunchy snacks. These are the strawberry banana chips, and these are the cinnamon apple chips. This is a good option, especially for kids' lunch boxes if you're tired of just putting the same old like banana or apple in there. It's something fun for them, and it's just fruit, no sugar added. So definitely delicious as well. I got some of this paleo snack mix for Adam. This is the savory one. I got this before and he really liked it. We really like these Simple Mills crackers. This is another thing that I can get cheaper on Thrive, so I go ahead and order it from them. These are the almond flour crackers. These are grain-free, and I think personally that they taste almost just like Wheat Thins. I also picked up, again, these organic freezer pops. These are 100% fruit juice. They have no added sugar. We don't really keep juice, like sugary juice, in the house, but each one of these is only like 50 milliliters. So it'll be a good for the summer too, especially when it gets hot outside. I like to keep popsicles out in the garage freezer so that the kids can have them when they're riding bikes out there with their friends. Okay, I did pick up some of this paleo pizza crust, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be cooking it in this video or my next What's for Dinner video, but I am looking forward to trying this. We like to have pizza night at least once a week, but I saw that this had really good reviews on the site, so I'm looking forward to trying that. It's gluten-free. I believe it's made with almond flour, arrowroot powder, flaxseed meal, cauliflower powder. I also got some roasted and salted macadamia nuts to keep in the pantry. I like to keep a variety of nuts on hand just for snacking and recipes and when I make granola and things like that. I also got the coconut oil sweet potato chips. So these looked interesting to me. They are also single serve bags and 6 come in there. So excited to try those. My kids do like sweet potatoes, so I'm hoping that maybe I can throw those in their lunch. I also got this Good Food for Good spicy ketchup. I thought this was interesting, and it has no added sugar, so I thought maybe we would try that with some sweet potato fries or something. And then this is the Primal Palette Cinnamon Sugar Cookie seasoning. So this is actually a paleo seasoning, and it has maple sugar and cinnamon in it. I also just got a can of tuna. I thought I ordered 2, but I think I just ordered 1. So this is the Safe Catch Wild Albacore tuna. I like tuna salad. I'm pretty much the only one that likes it though, so I'll probably use that for that. I also got some avocado oil mayo. There's a couple recipes that I want to try that call for this, and this is another thing that I can get cheaper on Thrive. Oh, there's another pizza crust. I think I must have gotten the 2-pack of those, so I just now noticed that. Okay, I got the Jovial gluten-free fusilli pasta. It is really good. I don't notice a ton of difference between this and regular whole wheat pasta, but it is gluten-free, and they have several different, shapes available if you're looking for that. I also got this pack of refried beans. This is a dozen Cousins classic refried pinto beans with green chilies. I thought this looked really good. Kira really likes refried beans, and so anytime we do taco night or something like that, I'll probably make these on this side. And then lastly, I got the Purely Elizabeth grain-free coconut cashew granola. I love eating granola in yogurt and fruit, and this had really good reviews, and I know this is a good brand. It is paleo and keto granola, so check that out. So that's everything that I got. Hopefully you guys saw some new things that you want to try out. Again, if you want to take advantage of any of their sales or deals or foods on their site, go to thrivemarket.com/Jen Chapin, 25% off your first order plus a free gift. All right, so we are going to start out with the viral current recipe, which is the TikTok baked feta pasta. So I have a baking dish here. I put a pint of washed cherry tomatoes in the bottom of that. I'm pouring in some olive oil and some salt and pepper. And I also decided to season this with some red pepper flakes because I like mine a little bit spicy. And then I'm just using half of the block of feta cheese. I actually cut this recipe in half because I wasn't sure how much my family would like it, and I wanted to make a smaller batch first. So you just want to kind of roll that feta around in the oil and the seasonings and turn it over to coat the top, and then you'll pop that into the oven for about 40 minutes to bake. So while that's baking, I cooked up some of that Jovial pasta. And when the feta and tomatoes came out of the oven, I went ahead and diced up my basil. I will link the recipe that I used down below. I found this online and it turned out really, really good. I would definitely recommend it, but it does call for fresh basil, which I think makes a big difference in the finished dish. So I would recommend adding that. But here's what that feta and tomato mixture looks like when you take it out of the oven. Delicious. All you do is just stir in some of the chopped basil and a few cloves of minced garlic, and then just kind of mash everything around. So I'm just using my rubber fork here that I got at Sur La Table, and I'm just stirring that around until the feta and the tomatoes kind of mash up together and make a sauce. You can keep mashing this to be as smooth or as chunky as you like it. I left some of the tomatoes partially whole, and then I'm just straining out the pasta and putting it in the dish with the sauce. I'm trying to leave a little bit of water on the pasta to make sure that the dish isn't too dry, but you can also drain and save some of that starchy pasta water in case you need to add it to the dish as well. And then you'll just stir that together until everything is combined and serve it up. So I have to say, I was very surprised at how delicious this was. I mean, I really like feta cheese, but I think I like it even better in this. And it does not taste like a strong feta flavor. Like, my kids ate this and there is no way they would eat like regular cold feta cheese. It's just something about the baking of the feta really gives it a different flavor. So I would definitely recommend this. Super easy, super quick. Like I said, I'll link that recipe down below. And if you use that Jovial pasta, I mean, honestly, I couldn't even tell the difference between this and regular rotini. Okay, so next up, I'm sharing a Instant Pot chicken spaghetti recipe. This is out of one of my Instant Loss cookbooks, which I'll link down below. You guys may have already seen this in a video, but I do try to kind of compile all of my dinner clips together and put them in one video, because I know that there are some people that just watch my What's for Dinner videos. And so that way I can also kind of explain things in detail a little bit better than I can in the other videos. So this dish is basically what I like to call it, is sort of like a healthy kind of like chicken helper in the Instant Pot. It turned out really, really good. So I have 3 chicken breasts here, and I'm just cutting those into bite-sized chunks. What we'll do is we'll saute these in the Instant Pot on the saute setting with some olive oil and some seasonings. You could add onions, you could add peppers, you could add mushrooms. I think the original recipe calls for all of those, but my kids aren't super fond of onions and peppers and mushrooms in their food, so I went ahead and left those out, and then we just had veggies on the side. So I sprinkled that with a little bit of pasta, or I'm sorry, not pasta, salt, and some garlic powder, some onion powder, and some pepper, and then you just stir that around and keep cooking the chicken on the saute setting just until it is cooked through all the way. I added some dried parsley, and then I'm adding about half a package of whole wheat angel hair pasta that I broke into thirds. Make sure that you do that so that it fits into the Instant Pot. And then I'm just adding in some chicken broth. So all of this is going to cook together, and it doesn't take very long at all. The pasta cooks in the chicken broth sauce just on 6 minutes at high pressure. On the side, I'm going to make Caesar salad. I got this at Costco, and I wanted to use up part of it for dinner. This was a very large salad kit, so I ended up saving the other half for lunches throughout the week. But if you ever can find this organic Earthbound Farms Caesar salad mix at your Costco, definitely pick it up. I'm a huge Caesar salad lover, and this one definitely does not disappoint. So on the side, I was also going to steam up some broccoli. So I have my pan here with the steamer basket. I just put the broccoli in there, and I will cover it and steam that for about 5 to 7 minutes until the broccoli is tender and cooked through. So here's what that chicken spaghetti looks like when it's all cooked. You can see that the pasta is tender and the chicken is all the way cooked through. And then the last step is just to add some sour cream. Probably sounds kind of weird, but that's all that is in this, that it's in the sauce, is just seasoning, chicken broth, and sour cream. So definitely a lot, better for you than some of those box mixes of Hamburger Helper with all the chemicals in them and everything. This is definitely a kid-pleasing dish. I would recommend this. I'll find the recipe online and link it down below. Like I said, my kids loved it. I'll definitely be making again. It will become a dinner rotation for us for sure. So here's what we had on this night. We had the chicken spaghetti with the steamed broccoli on the side, and then a Caesar salad. I added some black olives to that. Yummy, super delicious. Okay, so next dinner I'm sharing with you is some fish cakes and coleslaw, and we had baked potatoes with that. So this is actually a recipe concept that I first started making, I believe when I got Home Chef, like many, many years ago. I've been making this for probably going on 5 years now, but essentially it's a baked fish, and then you flake up the fish and form it into patties, like with some breadcrumbs or cracker crumbs, and you just brown them up in a skillet. And my kids love these. They would probably eat them every night for dinner if I let them. So I just have some tilapia here on a baking tray. I drizzled it with olive oil, seasoned it with pepper and some Old Bay seasoning. You can really use any type of seasoning that you like, but Old Bay is very traditional for seafood, obviously. And you can bake the fish ahead of time. So even if you wanted to bake it like the day before or a couple days before, you could keep it in the fridge, flake it up, and then go about your recipe on the night you wanted to make it. So while that's in the oven, I am making some coleslaw. And this is the coleslaw recipe that I always use. You guys have probably seen me make it many times before. It is the KFC copycat coleslaw recipe. And the only modification that I do for this is it calls for 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. sugar, but I don't use regular sugar. I use sugar substitute. So usually monk fruit sweetener or Swerve, whatever I have on hand, I use that as a substitute, and it works out just great. I'm using the bagged coleslaw mix as well, and just giving that a good stir. You do want to make this dish ahead of time, just to kind of give the coleslaw a chance to soften up, or the cabbage a chance to soften up. So I popped that into the fridge until it was time to eat. I also made some baked potatoes. So I have some russet potatoes here that I scrubbed, and I put them on a baking sheet, drizzled them with olive oil, poked them so they don't explode. Sprinkle them with some salt, and I'll pop them into the oven at 400 degrees. Usually I bake those for around an hour to an hour and 15 minutes until they are tender. So once the fish has had a chance to cool, it doesn't have to cool all the way, but just kind of cool enough that you can handle it. I put it into a big bowl and then just flake it up with a fork. You do want to try and flake it up pretty fine. If you leave the fish in too large of chunks, the patties will have a hard time coming together. So just a word to the wise on that. And I'm using tilapia in this recipe, but you can also use cod or salmon. You could probably even use tuna as well, though I've never tried it. So for the binder for this, I am adding a couple tablespoons of mayonnaise. You could also use a beaten egg if you wanted to. I'm going to add some lemon juice to this and some panko breadcrumbs. Like I said, I've made this so many times that I don't even really use a recipe anymore, but I can link one down below in case you guys need a guide to follow. I'm using some whole wheat panko breadcrumbs, some salt and pepper. Just make sure that you don't over salt this. You do obviously want it to be flavorful, but since you've already seasoned the fish, just kind of go easy on the salt. So once that mixture is together, you want to just kind of let it stand for about 5 minutes to let the breadcrumbs rehydrate. You can also use saltine cracker crumbs if you don't have breadcrumbs on hand. So I just have my nonstick skillet here, and I've heated up just a little bit of avocado oil in the bottom of that. You don't need much at all. And then you kind of just want to form this mixture into golf ball size patties. Don't make them too thick or they will burn on the outside before they have a chance to heat through. And then I just crisp these up in a pan over like medium to medium high heat, maybe like 4 to 5 minutes on each side. The fish is obviously already cooked, so you don't need to do that. You're kind of just heating it through and crisping it up. So I'm just going to turn these very carefully. You do have to kind of do this gingerly, or sometimes they will fall apart. But normally we serve ours like with some sriracha mayo, or sometimes we have tartar sauce with them. The kids don't eat any sauce with them. They just eat them plain. And then I'll serve like a lemon wedge on the side as well, in case anyone wants to squeeze extra lemon over theirs. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this. It's a very mild dish, especially if you have picky eaters. I don't think that this is that much different than a fish stick, although you could argue that it's probably healthier and less processed. So here's what we had for dinner. This was my plate. I had some of the fish cakes with a little bowl of coleslaw, and then the baked potatoes on the side with a little bit of cheese and sour cream and chives. Definitely one of our favorites that week for dinner. Okay, so next up, I'm sharing this recipe that I made that is an air fryer popcorn shrimp. This is also out of one of the Instant Loss cookbooks, and the recipe was for Cajun popcorn shrimp. I did not use Cajun seasoning in mine, but basically I was just going for the method here of like breading and cooking the shrimp in the air fryer. So I'll link a similar recipe down below, as well as the cookbook. You see I have it there on my cookbook stand, which I love, and I didn't think I needed it until I got it. But I'm also going to make some roasted sweet potatoes with this, and then I'm also going to make a salad on the side. The salad kit that I'm going to make is a buffalo ranch salad kit, but the kids probably wouldn't eat that, so instead I'm roasting them some regular potatoes and sweet potatoes. One thing I wanted to talk about briefly in this video is sort of eating together as a family. And sometimes I get questions on, does our family always eat the same thing? Do I cook separate meals? Are my kids picky eaters? If they're not picky eaters, how did I get them not to be picky eaters? And I can just share with you what I've done. I wouldn't say I'm an expert on any of this, but I do know that when my daughter was born and when she was a toddler, I think that being a new mom, I really catered to her a lot more than I should have, meaning I would just do the easy thing and give her chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese because that's what she would eat. And oftentimes she would eat something different than the rest of us. But by the time Connor came around, and I've always been a full-time work outside the home mom, I don't have time to be cooking a bunch of different meals. And so throughout, over those years, once Connor started eating table food, I kind of just started cooking one meal at night, and that's what everyone eats. Now, obviously, I don't make people eat things that they don't like. Like, for example, my kids don't really like mushrooms. I'm not going to make a dish with a bunch of mushrooms and make them eat it. So I try to cook foods that I know that everyone will like. But I also tell my kids, not every meal you eat has to be just like the best thing ever. It's not going to be. Sometimes you're just going to eat dinner and it's going to be a meat and a sweet potato and a veggie and your belly's going to be full and you're going to go to bed. Not every time you eat has to be the most amazing food experience, right? And I think that eating together as a family and exposing your kids to a lot of different types of food, being that I do cook at home, they see me preparing all of this food. They're exposed to, many different vegetables and cuisines and everything like that. There isn't really anything that they're scared to try or scared to eat. And so that would just be my advice is, cook with them, have them watch you cook, eat together as a family. One other thing too that I think that sometimes we don't realize is that it takes kids an average of about 15 times being exposed to a food before they actually like it. So just keep trying, right? I mean, with my kids, they didn't automatically like, broccoli or I don't even remember the things that I fed them when they were toddlers at this point, but just keep putting it on their plate and say, try a bite, because their tastes change. And just because they didn't like peas 6 months ago doesn't mean that they won't like it now. So those are just my tips. I'm not really a short order cook. I'm not in the mood for that. And so, yes, for the most part, we all eat the same thing. If there's something that someone doesn't like, we will make modifications. But yeah, for the most part, we're all eating the same thing every night. So on this night, I was making the popcorn shrimp. So you saw me there. I put some cassava flour and some seasonings into that bowl. And I'm just tossing the shrimp around in that and then putting it into the bowl with the egg. And then I'll toss that around and then back into the mixture with the cassava flour. So you're kind of doing a double coating with the flour into the egg, back into the flour. So the reason why I wanted to try this recipe is because I made this coconut shrimp recipe in the air fryer out of one of the Instant Loss cookbooks. And it was really, really good. And I have to say, this one I did not think was as good. Adam liked it more than I did. It's obviously definitely a healthier take on deep fried shrimp because you're using cassava flour and seasonings. You're putting it in the air fryer and spraying it with olive oil spray versus deep frying it. But I think maybe these just weren't as flavorful as I like them to be. They were good. I'd probably try to recreate it, doing some different seasonings or something like that. So this is the Buffalo Ranch salad kit that I was referring to. So I put this into a bowl and added the dressing and the toppings. So for example, this is an example of something that my kids probably wouldn't eat. They don't necessarily like coleslaw type salads. They will eat lettuce salads with, ranch or Olive Garden dressing or something like that. So we just make modifications, right? I always try to keep simple veggies and things like that on hand that I can steam up for them. So here's what the shrimp looks like. After it cooks in the air fryer on one side, you can flip it over and spray it with the cooking spray and then let it cook some more. I would have liked to see these brown up a little bit better. I felt like the coconut shrimp really did brown up better than this, but here's how we served it with the shrimp and some lemon and some tartar sauce and the Buffalo Ranch slaw. That's a tongue twister. Okay, so today is Super Bowl Sunday, so I'm just sharing with you guys what I am making. Our beloved Chiefs lost. Adam was devastated, but to kind of eat along with watching the game tonight, I made some pigs in a blanket and some potato wedges. So I did share this in a prior weekend prep video, but again, I like to share it in the What's for Dinner videos since there are people that just watch those. So I baked up some potatoes in the oven, and I did let them cool a little bit before I sliced them into wedges, and then I put them back on a baking sheet with some foil, and I'm just brushing those with some butter, and I'll pop these back into the oven and kind of toast them up a little bit until they're crispy on the outside. And then I also added some cheese to these along with some crumbled bacon and some green onions. This was a recipe that was inspired by my friend Kira over at 50 Shades of Mom. I'll link her channel down below, but I saw her make these and she actually did buffalo potato wedges where she seasoned them with buffalo sauce. I decided not to do that since the kids were going to be eating it, but they turned out really good. We ate them with sour cream. Delicious. Fun fact, Connor actually really likes buffalo seasoning. He loves buffalo chicken wings, but Kira is not a huge fan of it, so I did leave it out. But the other thing that I made for us to snack on during the game were some pigs in a blanket. So normally when I make these, I make them with crescent roll dough, but I've been trying to kind of make some better choices, I guess you could say, in terms of our food. And so I did decide to use puff pastry with these. Now, I guess you could argue that puff pastry is, not any better than crescent roll dough. But if you look at the ingredient list, the puff pastry is definitely much cleaner in terms of the ingredients in it. It's just like water, butter, flour, and salt. So I rolled that out onto my island, and then I'm just going to cut these hot dogs in half and then kind of slice the puff pastry into strips, and then I sliced it halfway across, and then I'm just rolling up each half of the hot dog in a little bit of puff pastry. You can seal these with like water if you want to. I didn't find that they needed it, but I will probably be making pigs in a blanket like these for the next foreseeable future because these are honestly way more delicious than the crescent roll ones. I would recommend them. So I use the Hebrew National natural hot dogs, and these are definitely the ones I would recommend. We've been kind of trying the more like quote natural hot dogs, and these so far are the winner. We tried the Applegate Farms ones this week and did not care for them at all. So I did also add a little bit of mustard to some of these. We all like mustard except for Kira, so I left some without mustard, and then some of them I also put some everything but the bagel seasoning on top. That's kind of how I tried to tell them apart. When I've made pigs in a blanket in the past, I have also used cheese in them. I didn't put any cheese on these, but after they were done, I beat up an egg with a little bit of water, and then I just brushed some of that egg wash over the top of each pig in a blanket, I guess you could say. And then I sprinkled some with everything with the bagel seasoning, and then some I just sprinkled with plain salt, and that's it. These turn out super good. Definitely recommend this. I did follow a recipe that I found online, so I can link that down below. But like I said, I would definitely make these again. I did cut some slits in the top just to make sure that the puff pastry had a chance to vent, and I almost dropped my camera there, but I baked them at 400 for about 20 minutes. So here's what they looked like when they're done. I probably could have did a prettier picture for you guys, but you get the gist. Dip them in some mustard and you will not be sad. Definitely recommend this one. Okay, so the next recipe I'm going to share with you is a homemade pork ramen. So what I did was I started out this recipe making a marinade for some pork loin. So I had some soy sauce that I put into the bowl there. I'm adding a couple of cloves of garlic, and then I'm also adding some toasted sesame oil, some rice wine vinegar, just a bunch of different sort of Asian flavored flavors, I guess. I can't talk, to the bowl. And then you will marinate your pork loin for up to 24 hours. I'm adding in some honey there as well. So the kind of the gist behind this recipe is that you're going to marinate a pork loin, roast it. You would have half of the pork loin the night that you roasted it for dinner, and then the other half you would save for this pork ramen soup. So we didn't do that. We just roasted it and then had it with the pork ramen. So I'm also putting some Chinese 5-spice powder in there and some salt and pepper. You also saw me put some rice wine vinegar and just give that a good whisk. And then I have a pork loin here that I thawed out. I had that in the freezer, and I'm just pouring the marinade over that in a Ziploc bag. And then I marinated this for, I think, about 24 hours before I roasted it in the oven. And then once it was done marinating, I just put it in the oven at 425. Adam has one of those like automatic meat thermometer probes. So he put that in there, and then we just roasted it until it was done, took it out, put it in the fridge, and then saved it for this night. So this was the night we actually had the ramen. So what I'm doing here is just chopping up some bok choy, and then I gave that a good wash. And next I'm going to wash and chop up some mushrooms. So these are, I believe, shiitake mushrooms, and I'm not a huge fan of mushrooms, but Adam really likes them, and so I did decide to put them in the soup, and then me and the kids just picked them out. So I have some ramen broth in here that I got from Aldi. I mixed that with some beef broth, and then I'm just simmering the veggies in there until those are tender. And then I will slice up the pork loin, but then I'm also going to add some rice noodles. So I just added these rice noodles because that's what I had on hand, but if I had it to do over, I would actually use real ramen noodles, but this is just the broth that I use. I wanted to show you guys a picture of that. It was still good. I think I would make it with a couple of modifications. I just felt like the flavor wasn't all there, but here was that pork after I took it out of the refrigerator. So I just tried to slice this into as thin of slices as I could because I wanted it to be tender, and it's already cooked through. So once it was sliced up, I just basically put it into the pot with the hot broth and let that heat through. The other thing that I did that I didn't show on camera was I did soft boil some eggs to go on top of the ramen, and then I also made some pot stickers on the side. So here's what the ramen looked like after it was done. We put some cilantro on the top, some sesame seeds, an egg, and we did have some hot sauce in there, and definitely delicious, although I would make those modifications in the future. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope that you enjoyed this What's for Dinner video. Don't forget to check out Thrive Market. I'll have all the information in the description box below. It's thrivemarket.com/Jen Chapin for 25% off your first order, which is a huge discount. There's Murphy. Plus, you can also get a free gift. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.